What happens when magnesium react with dilute nitric acid?
Magnesium nitrate and H2 is
Magnesium salt and hydrogen gas is evolved. What happens when metals with dilute nitric acid?
metal salt and hydrogen gas is involved.
Metal salt and hydrogen gas. Is a water one.
Hydrogen gas is formed. No. Metal salt plus nitrogen oxide or nitrogen dioxide with water is formed. Exception magnesium and manganese. When magnesium or manganese reacts with dilute nitric acid to form salt and hydrogen gas. What do you mean by aquaregia?
This is solution of hydrogen and nitric acid and the ratio of 3:1.
Hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. What happens when aluminum reacts with steam? What happens when aluminum reacts with steam? What happens when aluminum reacts with steam? Aluminum oxide and hydrogen. Metals like aluminum, iron and zinc do not react with ice, cold or hot water, but they react with steam. Steam means gaseous form of water to form metal oxide and hydrogen gas. When aluminum or iron or zinc reacts with steam to form metal oxide and hydrogen gas. Iron, zinc and aluminum do not react with cold water or hot water, but they react with steam. Why calcium floats over water?
Because of hydrogen gas
When calcium
react with water.
mixed with water, the bubbles of hydrogen gas formed, which is stick to the surface of the
Calcium.
It have to float the calcium.
What happens when magnesium react with cold water?
Magnesium hydrogen.
Magnesium does not react with cold water. What happens when magnesium react with the water? Hot water or water? Magnesium hydroxide. Magnesium also floats on the surface of water because hydrogen gas bubbles produced stick to the surface of the metal. What happens when copper reacts with the silver nitrate solution?
Copper nitrate.
Write down. What happens when copper reacts with the silver nitrate solution?
Copper nitrate plus silver.
Formula of copper nitrate is
CuNO3.
CuNO3 whole 2 plus 2Ag. Some metals melt on keeping them on fire. Also give an example.
Gallium and
Cesium. An element X is soft and can be cut with a knife easily. This is very reactive with air and cannot be kept open with air. Name the reagent which is able to dissolve gold and platinum. Does copper displaces silver from silver nitrate?
Yes.
Yes. Copper displaces silver from silver nitrate. Give an example of a nonmetal which is the hardest known substance.
Diamond.
Which nonmetal is liquid at room temperature?
Mercury.
Which nonmetal is liquid at room temperature? Bromine. Why nonmetals are brittle in nature? Because when nonmetals are hammered, they break into several pieces. Nonmetals do not evolve hydrogen gas when react with water or steam or dilute acid. Why? Nonmetals do not evolve hydrogen gas when they are react with water or steam or dilute acid.
Hydrogen is oxidized.
Why?
Because they are acidic in nature, so the hydrogen gas dissolve in it.
What? Nonmetal do not evolve hydrogen gas when they react with water or steam. They oxidized with hydrogen gas to form water.
Water.
A nonmetal gains electrons to form anion. What do you mean by this statement? A nonmetal gains electrons to form anion. What do you mean by this statement?
Non-metal uses electron.
Nonmetals
Gains electron.
have a tendency to gain electrons to form anions. What type of a bond is formed when electron is transferred completely from one atom to another atom? Ionic compounds are crystalline solids. Why melting and boiling point of ionic compounds are high?
Because they have strong intermolecular coefficient.
Because these compounds have high melting and boiling points, as large amount of energy is required to break the strong interionic attraction of force. Water helps in separation of opposite charge ion from their ionic compound. Give reason. Again repeat the question. Water helps in separation of opposite charge ions from their ionic compound. वाटर गोटे आयनिक कंपाउंड को हेल्प करे तार दी प्रकार चार्ज को अलग करिबारे जदि आमे से कंपाउंड रे वाटर प्लस मिसे दउचंदी तार दी प्रकार आयन अलग है जे पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव किपर हे परियो होय काहे को वाटर करि पारे
Water is the
तो in molten form when water is added to any ionic compounds, the electrostatic force of attraction between the oppositely charged ions are overcome due to water contains ion, a solution of an ionic compound. A solution of an ionic compound in water contains ion, which move to the opposite charge electrode when water is added to the compound. Why ion move freely and conduct electricity in the molten form?
Because they are free electron.
Why ions move freely and conduct electricity in the molten form?
Because of charged ion particles move freely and ionize the.
In molten form, the electrostatic force of attraction between opposite charge ions are overcome due to heat. This is the reason due to which ions move freely and conduct electricity in the molten state. What are gangue?
The ornamented materials deposited on the ores.
The undesirable impurities like soil sand, which are found in ore, are called gangue or matrix. What is cinnabar?
Cinnabar is the
Ore of mercury.
Very good. It is an ore of mercury. What is the copper glance?
It is an
Ore of copper. What is the roasting?
roasting is the process in sulfide ore purified.
Sulfide are bound in the presence of
Excess air.
It is the process in which a sulfide ore is heated below its melting point in the presence of excess air to convert it into metal oxide. For example, zinc sulfide. Zinc sulfide is an ore which is in the form of sulfide. When they are heated in the presence of sufficient oxygen to form zinc oxide and sulfur dioxide. What is calcination?
it is the process in which carbonate ores are heated below its melting point
In the absence of air
to get
metal oxides.
Is the process of
with the
when a carbonate ore is heated below its melting point in the absence of air, it converts into metal oxide. For example, when zinc carbonate is heated in the absence of air to form zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. What do you mean by thermit welding?
It is the process in which the broken rail tracks
The reaction of iron oxide Fe2O3 with aluminum to produce iron is used to join railway track or cracked machine parts. This process is called thermit welding, and the reaction is known as
Thermit reaction.
thermit.
Reaction.
What is anode mode?
the impurities that deposit from the during
The soluble impurities go to the solution where the insoluble impurities settle down below the anode and are known as anode mode. What is galvanization?
it is the process in which zinc is
Coating of iron or steel object with a thin layer of zinc. Metals of high reactivity is extracted by which method? Electro.
reduction.
Which type of metals are extracted by electrolytic reduction method?
High reactivity.
What is the special quality of iron pillar which is located near Qutub Minar? The iron pillar near Qutub Minar in Delhi was built more than 1600 years ago by the iron workers of India. They had developed a process which prevented iron from rusting. This due to the presence of a thin layer of magnetic oxide. Magnetic oxide, that means not magnesium. Magnetic oxide which is Fe3O4. Or for its quality of rust resistance, it has been examined by scientists from all parts of the world. The iron pillar is 8 meters high and weighs 6 tons. The special structure is which prevented from the rusting. What do you mean by 22 karat gold?
So 22 piece of gold and 2 piece of copper or silver.
22 karat gold means 22 part of pure gold is alloyed with 2 parts of either copper or silver.
Silver.
Why is sodium kept immersed in kerosene oil?
Because it reacts very vigorously.
What chemical process is used for obtaining a metal from its oxide?
Redox.
Very good, reduction process. Which metal do not corrode easily?
Gold.
Gold, silver, platinum.
Gold.
All are.
The platinum is
So nature free state remaining. Food cans are coated with tin and not with zinc because
zinc is reactive with the food.
zinc is costlier than tin. Zinc is more reactive than tin. Zinc is less reactive than tin.
More
Zinc is more reactive.
What are amphoteric oxides?
The oxide which can react both the basic
Acid and
as
base.
well as base to form
Example?
aluminum oxide and zinc oxide.
What type of oxides are formed when non-metal combine with oxygen? What type of oxides are formed when non-metals combine with oxygen? Acidic oxides are formed. What type of oxides are formed when metal
Basic oxide.
combine with oxygen?
Basic oxide.
Metal oxide, which is basic oxide. Why platinum, gold and silver are used to make jewelry? High malleability, lustrous and least reactive. So they are not corroded by air and water easily. Why aluminum is a highly reactive metal, yet it is used to make utensils for cooking. A thin layer of aluminum oxide formed on the surface of aluminum prevents it from corrosion. Thus aluminum vessels do not react with any ingredient of food and are suitable for cooking. Carbonate and sulfide ores are usually converted into oxides during the process of extraction. Why?
Because if they remain in there,
It is easier to obtain metal from its metal oxide. Give reason why copper is used to make hot water tanks and not steel.
Copper is not reactive with hot water.
Iron and steel, or steel is more reactive than copper. Iron in contact with steam to form iron oxide or ferrite. So the body of a tank is made up of copper but not steel. Sodium hydroxide is termed an alkali, while ferric hydroxide is not alkali because sodium hydroxide is a strong base while ferric hydroxide is a weak base, or sodium hydroxide is a base which is soluble in water while ferric oxide is a base but it is not soluble in water. Last option.
Ferric oxide.
Sodium hydroxide is a base which is soluble in water, but ferric oxide is also base but
not
dissolved or soluble in water. So that is why sodium hydroxide is termed as alkali, but iron oxide or ferric hydroxide is not considered as alkali. An element X reacts with O2 to give a compound with a high melting point. This compound is also soluble in water. The element X is likely to be iron, calcium, silicon, carbon. Calcium. Which of the following oxides of iron would be obtained on prolonged reaction of iron with steam? FeO, Fe3O4, Fe2O3, Fe2O3 and Fe3O4. Fe3O4. Fe3. Bronze is an alloy of copper and tin. Which of the following metals do not corrode in moist air? Copper, iron, gold, silver. Gold. During the electrolytic refining of copper, what happens at the anode? Copper ions gain electrons to become neutral copper atom, or neutral copper atom gain electron to become ions. Neutral copper atoms lost electron to become ions.
Option C.
Beat.
Last option C. During electrolytic refining of copper, the neutral copper atom lost electrons to become ions. Assertion is alloys are commonly used in electrical heating devices like electric iron and heater. Reason is alloys have lower melting point than their constituent metals.
True, but Irish false.
Assertion is
True, but Irish false. C option.
the assertion is zinc carbonate is heated strongly in presence of air to form zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. Reason is calcination is the process in which a carbonate ore is heated strongly in the absence of air to convert it metal.
It's false. It's false, but Irish.
Option D. Assertion food cans are coated with tin and not with zinc. Reason is zinc is more reactive than tin.
A.
Very good. What happens when calcium react with nitric acid? Calcium nitrate. And dinitrogen monoxide. Dinitrogen monoxide means N2O. Also name any two metals which react with steam but not with hot water.
Iron, aluminum.
Aluminum, iron. Very good. A metal that exists as liquid at a room temperature is obtained by heating its sulfide in the presence of air. Identify the metal and its ore and give the reactions involved.
Mercury.
Very good. The metal is mercury because it is the only metal which exists in liquid at room temperature. Mercury is obtained from the sulfide ore that is known as cinnabar, HGS, mercury sulfide. The reaction is HGS in the presence of oxygen 3O2.
HGO.
The roasting process is used HGO plus SO2. Further HGO is reduced to form mercury.
Yes, is Hg plus SO2.
Very good. Explain what happens if bauxite containing iron and silica as impurities is directly subjected to the process of electrolytic reduction without prior purification. Bauxite, the most important ore of aluminium, which contain only 30 to 70% of aluminum oxide or alumina. Crude bauxite, which is Al2O3 and 2S2, contains iron oxide and silica as impurities. If any amount of iron is present in the bauxite, it will get deposited at the cathode in preference to aluminum because iron is less electropositive than aluminum. A student was given magnesium, zinc, iron and copper metals. गोटे स्टूडेंट को कौन दिया मैग्नेशियम जिंक Fe एंड Cu टिके खातिर गारे अभद्र कर he puts each of them in dilute hydrochloric acid contained in different test tube. He puts each of them in dilute hydrochloric acid contained in different test tube. Identify which of them will not displace hydrogen from dilute hydrochloric acid. Copper, because
Copper is less reactive than hydrogen.
will give hydrogen with 5% nitric acid. MgZnFe ভিতরে কি magnesium will be displaced from its salt solution by all other metals. Copper metal will be displaced
Copper.
its solution. यदि कॉपर सल्फेट सॉल्यूशन हम ताकू ये समस्त डिस्प्लेस कर देवे कहीं why copper is the least reactive.
Comes under the hydrogen.
What is the significance of the reactivity series of a metal?
Distinguish
The reactivity series of metals in the array of metals in decreasing order of their reactivity. It helps in predicting whether a metal can displace another metal or not in a displacement reaction. During extraction of metals, electrolytic refining is used to obtain pure metals. Which material will be used as anode and cathode for refining of silver metal by this process? Impure block of silver metal as anode, cathode is pure thin strip of silver metal. Suggest a suitable electrolytic silver nitrate. In this electrolytic cell, where do we get pure silver after passing electric current? We get pure silver at cathode. What happens when zinc carbonate is heated in the absence of oxygen?
zinc
Zinc
oxide
Zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. The process is calcination. Very good. What happens when a mixture of copper oxide and copper sulfide is heated?
copper
Copper and sulfur dioxide.
dioxide